Here we go again, indeed, and welcome along to We're Not Really Here. Thank you for joining us this Sunday afternoon. The Grand National at Wnrh, Wimbledon Centre Court, the Crucible Sheffield, all iconic sporting events and their surroundings, but none quite as iconic as a cup final at Wembley in the sun, and that is what is on the agenda this afternoon as Manchester City look to secure their fourth League Cup trophy in a row, but standing in their way is a Tottenham Hotspur team with nothing to lose. Arguably, though, one of the biggest wins of the day so far is the very welcome sight of fans returning to Wembley Stadium to watch football live. And there is a man we're hoping we might see on the pitch in just a little bit. Welcome along to We're Not Really Here. My name is Cel Spellman. What an absolute pleasure it is to be with you this afternoon, taking us up to our kickoff against Tottenham Hotspur at Wembley. And for a cup final, you need two big characters. So we have got the biggest and the best for us on We're Not Really Here in the form of our natural-born leader, Mr. Andy Morrison. Good afternoon. And a man who had ice in his veins whenever in front of goal, someone you definitely want with that one chance in a cup final, Mr. Shaun also joining us. Gents, I'm a little nervous. I'm a little jittery. Andy, how are you feeling about this cup final?
It's a cup final, you know, so obviously there's going to be nerves, but that's healthy. I think the players will be. I think if that's not there, I think you'd be worried if you weren't feeling a little bit of anxiety. But no, we're in really good form. And, you know, it's a stage that the players have become very, very familiar with over the last 4, 5, 6 years. So, yeah, it's going to be a great occasion.
It really, really is. And you mentioned there, you know, our home from home, in a way, Andy. And one thing that has been missing, though, is, of course, fans. And they are going to be there in the stadium this afternoon, a select number, which is so great. Just how important kind of is this moment, given the last 12 months, Shaun?
Well, I think it's absolutely huge. I think, first of all, to those special fans who are there, that they're privileged. But at the same time, I hope they've got their voices well ready, because I'm sure they're going to be making the noises of 90,000. They're just going to be nonstop in terms of singing and making noise. But I think it's a beautiful moment that we're now reaching a stage. We're starting to get fans into the games, because we know how important fans are. You know, without fans, we just have a game of football, but fans really make it what it is.
They really, really do. And I'm sure, like us in the studio and at home, you're going to be screaming and shouting as loud as you can, supporting our boys in blue. But the big question is, which team has Pep Guardiola taken for this cup final against Tottenham Hotspur? Of course, as well, there might be one eye, although we know they take it one game at a time, on that all-important semi-final clash against PSG. So a big starting 11 ahead, and it looks like this. Zach Stefan starts in goal, of course, who's played in net for all of the games in this cup run. And then a back four consisting of Kyle Walker, Ruben Diaz partners Aymeric Laporte with João Cancelo. Fernandinho captains our side in a holding role. And there is one name I'm sure you might be very surprised to see. Kevin De Bruyne starts against Tottenham Hotspur. Also in there is Ilkay Gundogan, Mr. Whippy himself. And it's looking like a front three of Riyad Mahrez, Phil Foden and Raheem Sterling. On the bench, Ederson, Ake, Gabriel Jesus, Sergio Aguero back in the matchday squad. He loves to score a goal at Wembley, doesn't he? Zinchenko as well on there, Rodrigo, Bernardo Silva, Ferran Torres and Benjamin Mendy. Wow, what a team. So much to get into there. But Andy, a general question to begin with. First impressions when you saw that starting 11?
I think whatever 11 we see, you know, we know it's going to be strong, and there'll be a balance to it. You know, the back four looks really strong. Whether Cancelo steps in, as he has done in previous games, we'll see. But no, it's just quality throughout the team, and again, a very, very strong bench. You've already said there won't be an eye on Tuesday. It's just all about today. But it's an incredibly strong team, and we've got De Bruyne back. You know, who for me is the outstanding footballer in world football, you know, this season. So really looking forward to it.
How much of a boost do you think that will be for the players, and of course, you know, also just general the feeling and the mood going into this final, Shaun? Because we saw him limp off at Chelsea.
Yes.
Are you surprised to see him back this quickly?
Yes, I am.
Yeah?
And you know, I think I'm like most City supporters in that you're looking to see if De Bruyne's name is in there, then it's our strongest team. I think that's the thinking of most City fans.
Yeah.
And so to see his name there, it really tells me, because I actually thought that if he was fit, that he wouldn't particularly start him. But he has started him, and this is what I love about Pep. You can't really figure him out, but it just shows you he wants to win every game. He puts his best team out there. And as he said, City have a squad that is all quality. You're really talking when one player comes in, the line just does this. It isn't a big drop off. It's that close in terms of the quality. So really pleased to see him in. The coaching staff and the players will also be pleased because we've seen times when De Bruyne has not been in, where we've not really had that great pass that quality pass has put a play in, and De Bruyne, he possesses that when it's just on the edge of the box or if it's deeper. He just has this real quality of finding that pass, that key pass. So really pleased to see him in, and for me, this is a really strong team. I'm loving this, and I'm really excited about today.
So are we, making me even more excited, Shaun. And off Kevin De Bruyne, we talked about leaders at the top of the show, and we've seen that Diaz has come into the fold. We've got our club captain who did a brilliant interview this week, Fernandinho. But one of the rising voices, I think, this season, I know, Andy, you spoke about as well, has been Kevin De Bruyne. So adding another leader alongside Fernandinho and Diaz, what does that do you think, for the team, bar his technical ability, actually his voice and his energy and power?
Yeah, I mean, he's shown leadership qualities for a long period now. It's a great point that Shaun made. When we look at the team, whether Bernardo Silva's instead of, we'll say, Sterling, or Zinchenko in at fullback, or John Stones, it's all much of a much. But I think Kevin De Bruyne is the player that we would say, without him, we are weakened. And I think everything else looks after itself. And it's very much, it's very much like for like. And the quality doesn't drop off. But when Kevs doesn't play, then it's different for me because, again, he's in the top 5 players for me in world football. And you want that player to be playing every week. And when you don't see his name on the sheet, it is slightly not as strong as what it was. And he's shown, with the way he carries himself and his standards and, now committed to the club long term. I just think it's great. And I think we're very, very fortunate to have a player like him who is a game changer. Again, we've got incredible talent throughout the squad, but he is unique. And as I said, I think he's irreplaceable, so we're lucky that he's back. And for me, it's really strong throughout. But I've just got a feeling these big stages, De Bruyne steps up.
And final thing, because we'll all be thinking as well. We want to see him hopefully in France in the middle of next week. You thinking maybe it might be, if the game goes well, you'd give him 60 minutes and then maybe we'd look to rest him, hopefully, so he can recover for
absolutely ideal scenario would be a couple of goals ahead and give him a rest, and then be ready for that big game in the week.
Fernandinho, of course, are the most loved player, I think, now across fans, and has done so much behind the scenes. There's always a toss-up between him and Rodri. What do you think is the thinking behind Pep going for Fernandinho in today's final against Spurs?
Well, again, it's quality. He's a great leader. He knows when he's got Fernandinho in there, the job gets done.
Yeah.
He just puts his name on the sheet and he just moves on to the next situation because the job gets done. He's so consistent. He understands the role. He's still that player that has that bite, but he's a clever way in how he puts those tackle in and uses his aggression. What I love about him as a holding midfielder, throughout games, you still find that maybe 4 or 5 times he's actually giving that forward pass, hitting that ball to the wide player for a one-on-one, and you normally don't associate that with defensive midfielders in other teams. There normally is square, back, just keeping transitioning the ball. But Fernandinho now and again goes bang, there you go to a wide player, one-on-one, and the game just changes. So again, he's absolutely quality. He's brilliant, and I love it.
Shaun Goater's seal of approval, and I love you too, Fernandinho. Phil Foden, Andy, feels almost undroppable at this moment in time now. We've kind of been, I think, waiting for the moment where you kind of go, actually now he's kind of played himself to that point, as Pep alludes to, where if you're at that top level, you won't get dropped. He seems to be in that moment now, doesn't he?
I think so. I don't think there's anything I can say or any of us can say that's not been said now.
Yeah.
I don't think we can bring anything else to the table to credit the talent the boy is. And yes, he's keeping the shirt, but, there's still not rotation, but, for me, Bernardo Silva has had one of his best periods for the club, but he's resty today. So I don't think it's about, I think the manager trusts his squad. He trusts every player that he puts in. He believes that they'll be able to match his standards and what's expected. But great to see him in there, because what do you want to do? You want to play football. You want to play football, especially at his age, and that's what he spoke about now for a long time. I just want to be on the pitch, and it's in there, and he's rightly on the pitch. And every single game he seems to raise the standard of what he's producing week on week. It just keeps raising the bar. And for one so young, it's quite remarkable. And I don't think there's anything I can say now that I haven't already said about the boy.
And sorry, you wanted to add to that?
The one thing I would say is we heard Pep Guardiola absolutely wax lyrical, mention a few things about Phil Foden, and normally he's very sort of measured. He's a good player. He's learning. He's doing. But he said things such as Phil Foden is affecting games. He's producing opportunities. He's scoring opportunities. He's affecting the game in the final third. And when you hear Pep Guardiola say that, and he's saying some things that you have to take note. And that tells me he's taking note of what Phil's doing. As a former forward, those are the players I enjoy playing with. Somebody that can affect the final third. Yeah. Because they go, here you go. There's a ball for you down the side. There's a ball at your feet where you need it to do what you want to do. Phil Foden affects the game. So, for me, we saw a bit of skill that he done there, pulling the ball out of the sky over his head. Basically tells us he's got eyes behind his head, and Cash, the defender, we were talking about it off air. This guy's no mug as a fullback. He's going the opposite way. All of a sudden, he's running in. And he's realizing, like, I've either got to pull him down or let him go. Yeah. And Phil's an exciting player, and I've said it before. And I see him within 5 years challenging for Ballon d'Or. Yeah. I really do. This guy he's just got everything about him.
Shaun, I think I wholeheartedly agree, and I think most football and England fans actually would say the same. Off that as well, Andy, because there was something you mentioned when we were talking about Phil off air, and I remember it saying when Pep talked about his game management in the game, when to know what to do with the pace of the game, slowing it down, quickening it up. I wonder if you could, what does he mean by that? Because I think as fans you go, all right, he's talking about the side of the game, I don't quite understand. All I see is Phil can ping a pass in, his first touch is impeccable, finish unbelievable. What do you think Pep's talking about there for the football fans, for him to take his game to the next level?
I think where he's playing now, and I think the responsibility as he grows and develops will be when we look at Iniesta and Xavi, the way they dictate the game and the tempo and the pace of the game from a midfield. Eventually, I see him dropping into that position and dictating play, and it's the patterns of play and slowing and when to go, slow, keep the ball, move it, wait for the opportunity, and then quick. Right. And there was times, and I got it straight away when Pep was talking about it, about his understanding of the game, when to slow it down, when to take time, when to recycle the ball, and then see the opening, and then go and do what you do. It maybe was a little bit, every time he had the ball, he felt like he had to go quick, he had to make something happen, got to impress.
Yes.
And I think that's what Pep spoke about. It was just that ability to be able to slow the game down, change the tempo, and then go at the right moment, not every time he had the ball. And he's already showing that, and the age that he's at to be dictating the game. But in time, I see him pivotal in a midfield area where he will be, when we mention names Xavi and Iniesta, I see those qualities in him going forward. You can't get the ball off him. He's so talented. He's getting stronger as well, year on year now. Just looking at some clips of him there on his lower body, around his ass area is stronger, his thighs are stronger, and those are the key in them moments. And you think about them players that we just mentioned, Messi and all that there, it's the lower body strength to be able to, in them tight areas. Out wide, you've got the touch line, you've got that behind you, haven't got a player, but in them areas, it's tight. Yeah. And that's where that comes in, and he's just developing it. It's great to see.
It really is exceptional. And there was a few things you mentioned there when you talked about the lower body strength, the balance, the touch, that I could attribute to our next guest, who's not here in the studio, but is down at Wembley with our fellow City presenter, Abby, who is with Shaun, Wright-Phillips, and we can go to them both now.
Yes, hello from a very sunny and warm Wembley. Shaun, I've got a bit of deja vu here. Long time no see.
Definitely long time no see, but I hope it's not a deja vu, to be honest with you.
I know. I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, obviously, we're going to forget about last week. clean slate, here today, Carabao Cup final, chance to win some silverware. How are you feeling?
Very, very positive.
Good.
Spoke to Carlo, the masseur. He's given me some more inspiration, lifted me a little bit, telling me the boys are feeling good. So just ready and waiting to go, basically. I just wish the whistle would go.
I know. Feels like we're waiting for ages. Kickoff feels an age away at the moment.
Had like my little pre-match routine this morning, blaring the music.
What kind of music was talking?
R&B and hip-hop.
Oh, nice. And obviously, back to the football. Could talk about tunes all day. We have got fans in the grounds. They were talking about how weird it was last week and how eerie it felt. Seems a bit more live and a bit buzzing here today.
Yeah, most definitely. It's great to see as well, of course, with the flags from both sets of teams, but to know there's going to be a couple of thousand or even more than that fans in here is great atmosphere, and I'm just happy we're here to witness it all, to be honest with you.
I know, I feel so lucky to be here. And how much of a difference does that make for the players, knowing that there are going to be City fans in that crowd cheering them on?
I wouldn't say mentally it makes too much of a difference, because with Pep's teams, they play the same way, the same level, and bring the same sort of elite performance every game, to be honest with you. But I think sometimes when you're that player and you're tired and you got one last run to do, the fans cheering normally give you that extra boost, and you find the energy from somewhere, whether it may be like a defending last-ditch tackle or running through on goal. It normally helps you with that little bit to boost your confidence.
Definitely. And I just want to mention finally, before we throw it back to the guys in the studio, you mentioned the flags there. I've had a look at our flags on that side, I've had a look at Tottenham's over there, and I don't want to slag them off too much, but I think we have absolutely done them at the park here in terms of our decoration.
I'm surprised you even paid any attention to them. I've only been looking at the Blues flags, to be honest.
I know, it's because they put up a couple of posters down there, and we've gone all tiers, massive flags, fight till the end, blue moon, all that. But yes, we will join you back here very soon, and back to you guys in the studio.
Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Shaun. And on the first battle of the day, which is who has won the flag war between City and Spurs, thank you, Abby. City 1-0 up, so it's a good start. And so great to see Shaun Wright-Phillips there as well. You were just saying, though, it's funny, you can attribute a few similarities in the style of play and the way they have to go about the game between Phil and Shaun Wright-Phillips, funnily enough.
Yeah, just the centre of gravity, just the ability to change direction very quick, and it's hard. And, I remember I was coming towards the end of my career, my time at City, when Shaun came onto the scene, and it was very difficult in training trying to get near him, and you don't want to kick your own players, but, trying to slow him down, because it was training session after training session. You saw it very quickly that he's a talent, similar to Foden. And, when you're getting to my age, it was a case of trying to make sure he's on your team rather than against you. Yeah.
I feel like all I've heard, though, Andy, is that it wasn't just you. It feels like every other player in that team would just have to try and kick Shaun, basically.
Yes, without doubt. I mean, again, talking about low sense of gravity, he had that low change of pace. That first 3 to 5 yards, he was like, he was just away, and that's with the ball, without the ball.
Yeah.
And Phil, has that exactly. And that clip we saw going around Cash, I think it was that any other player, they don't have that low sense of gravity. They can get away that 3, 4, 5 yards, and I think people don't really realize how quick Foden is. Not only is it the power there, again, that quickness over that first 5 yards, he's amazing at it, along with the skills. So
yeah, the skills are outrageous. There was another one in the Villa game in the middle of the box. If he'd finished it, je ne sais quoi. There's some beautiful full circles there as well, because Ruben Diaz, funnily enough, did a great interview talking about Phil Foden as well. But one man who I'm sure we all want to hear from, and I'm so excited to say we can bring you this, is of course Kevin De Bruyne. He is in the starting 11, and we can hear him giving his thoughts ahead of our game against Spurs taking place at Wembley in just under 45 minutes.
How are you, and how much are you looking forward to possibly making some history for the club today?
Well, I'm fine. So it's a big day again. You want to play for the trophies. So this is a big game, and excited to play in this one.
You're not playing against a Jose Mourinho side as you thought you would be at the start of the week. It's a different manager. Do you see a different type of game today than possibly earlier in the week?
Well, I'm not really sure. I think it's hard probably for their manager to change a lot in a week. So we'll see what happens. We'll check out the first 5 minutes, and then we have to adapt to whatever situation is happening.
You've been absolutely relentless in this competition, haven't you? And I presume you continue to hope that you will be today.
Well, it would be nice, we've been here a lot, and, we took everything serious, and this competition also, so it's always nice to play for the trophies, and that's why we play for this team.
There's only 8,000 in, but does that give you players an extra couple of percent?
Well, it's going to be nice. I only played one game this year against Southampton with 2,000 fans, and you can feel the difference, so to have at least some fans there in a final, I think everybody deserves it.
Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pep, the fans are back today, and you have a chance to make some history for the club. How much are you looking forward to this game?
Welcome back to the fans. Happy to see them, and final, try to win.
We wonder what sort of team you would select. It's a strong one. Can you just talk us through what went through your mind with that big game on Wednesday night against PSG?
Always is a strong one, the team we select. Are you saying that the guys who didn't play, they are not strong enough? All the team is strong every time we try to play again.
At the start of the week, you were preparing to face Jose Mourinho, but it's another manager. How does that change the dynamics, do you think?
Well, yeah, of course, every manager has his own idea. We saw the game against Southampton, but I don't know if it's the pattern they are going to use. We expect aggressive team. They're going to show the mega high pressing. They want to try to play. Højbjerg and Wings show that they want to, when they have the ball, try to play. Pace at front with Mora and Son. They make a movement in behind. So, yeah, always the Spurs was a tough game for us, and all that's 5 years being here as a top class team. So it's a final. We cannot expect more different than that.
Thanks very much for your time.
You're very welcome.
Simon, thank you. There we have Pep Guardiola speaking ahead of our game against Tottenham Hotspur, and before that, Kevin De Bruyne. So great to see his name on that starting 11. If you've just joined us, that is big news, and Sergio Aguero is on the bench. We'll come to him in a little bit, but it is funny, isn't it, Andy? It's the whatever game that seems to happen, more or less, Pep just gives the same interview and says the same thing, and that's the approach it's been all season, which you say is key, isn't it? I think to how we've got to where we've got to.
Yeah, I think we're at a final now, but I think again it's testament to the manager's standards and what he expects, and just the impression he's put on this football club that every single game is a must-win game of football, and then you go through rounds and before you know it, you're at the final. But that starts back with that first really important game. And I just think it's the mindset he brings, the intensity and his eyes in every single game. Every player has to be at the top of their game. And you see teams drift in and maybe they get through 2 or 3 rounds and then the manager will show interest because it's a semi-final of the League Cup. Right from the very first game, he sees it as a title. And his standards are so high, and it's impossible not to follow the demands that he has on his players. And again, we're fortunate that the byproduct of that is we're at a final again.
Yeah, and that fourth one in a row, Shaun. I mean, I think we're going to come look at our history in finals in a little bit, but we're going for our fourth one in a row, which has only, I think, ever been done by Liverpool. And if we were to win it, that would be 8 League Cup titles. Again, I think Liverpool are the only team to have had 8 League Cups. It's unbelievable.
Well, I mean, to just having this conversation, if City were to go and win this today, 4 consecutive League Cups, and again, we got to give this credit to Pep Guardiola, because we went through a spell where managers, top clubs weren't taking these, the League Cup, the Carabao Cup as important. They sort of, they got so far, then it's like right now they started putting strong teams. But City from the offset was this is something they want to win. Pep's, coming in, he wants to win. He's looking to win the League Cup. And it's all credit to him. And the team just perform. We know how they perform, consistently performing well, want to win it. We look at the team. It's a frightening team. It's all down to Pep. I just think it's brilliant what he's been doing.
Really, really is. Let's take a moment then to maybe put a little focus on today's opponents, which of course are Tottenham Hotspur. Big news for them at the start of the week with them releasing their manager Jose Mourinho, which we'll talk about in just a sec. And of course, I'm sure there was one big name Spurs fans were hoping to see on the team sheet in the form of Harry Kane. Well, I can now bring you the Tottenham Hotspur team, and Harry Kane does start. It looks like this. Hugo Lloris captains the team in net. Serge Aurier, Alderweireld, Dyer and Reguilon at the back. Højbjerg and Winks and Lo Celso in the middle. And a front three there of Lucas, Son and Harry Kane starts. On the bench, of course, former Blue, so great to see his name, Mr. Joe Hart, Sanchez, Tangana, Sissoko, Dele Alli, Ndombele, Bale, Lamela and Bergwijn. I think actually sometimes, given just what a lot of the talk I think around Spurs this week with Mourinho going and possibly where they are in the table, that you think they're not as strong as a team as maybe they are in your head, but then you look at that team, Andy, that is a very strong, not just 11, but also a very strong bench. This isn't going to be an easy final by any means. No, of course not. It's a final, isn't it? So, there's an expectation from them. They're representing the club in the first final for a long, long time. And obviously Kane is the key, without shadow of doubt. He's an outstanding footballer. And it's not just the goals he scores, it's also what he brings to the team. He comes into little pockets, which, obviously Ferrandino, they would have worked on that, making sure that he's not able to play a forward pass after receiving the ball. Because when Son goes and Lucas go, then you've got problems. So really it's about suffocating Kane early on, making sure that he can't get his head up and play them balls. But throughout the team, they're strong. It's a cup final, and it's an opportunity for them to put their place in Tottenham's history. Yeah. So it's a huge game, and it is game on. I guess similar, as we look to Kevin De Bruyne, Shaun, and you say, and Andy, you said as well, that's one kind of player that is kind of a bit irreplaceable. Kane is the same for them, but when you've got Lucas and Son around him, and we saw it at the start of the season, Shaun, we came undone by their quick counter, and I think that's happened a few times over the last seasons. How do we go about, then you talked about suffocating Kane, but also for us, what else do we have to do you think, as a team, to stem the threat of Lucas, Son and Kane?
Well, yeah, I think Andy's hit it right on the nail, on the head there. Again, Kane, when he comes deep, he has a real quality of finding that pass and the rate of pass. At times when I've seen him, I'm looking and thinking, this stuff is as good as De Bruyne's from deep areas. So I think he's key in terms of suffocating him. But City would have looked at that. City will look at that in terms of. Normally City like to press high, so it's compact, so that people like Fernandinho, De Bruyne, Gundogan, these players don't have a lot of space in between to cover. It's shorter distance, so it's going to be intriguing to see how City sort of play. Where's that line? Because if you play really high and they've got the pace of Lucas and Son, that's going to be interesting. And I also feel that Kane will be this is him showcasing in terms of, City, you're after a big striker? You're after a top striker? hey, you forget what I'm about? I'm going to show you. I think this will be something that'll be in his mind. Interesting, I'm pretty sure, because, again, Kane is one of those strikers that's up there in terms of the top world-class strikers. He'll want to perform exceptionally well. So, the defense we've got, He's got his work cut out as well. They really, really do. And we can't not mention, of course, as well, big news that Jose Mourinho was let go by Daniel Levy at Tottenham at the start of the week. So Ryan Mason comes in, who we'll come to in just a second. We were speaking, Andy, at the show in the middle of the week in against Villa, where if there was one person that you'd think you'd want on your side going into a cup final across 90 minutes of football, it would be Jose Mourinho. So kind of as City fans, you go, all right, might be a little bit better for us. What do you think the thinking was there behind? Not for us, to kind of focus on, but it's a big call, isn't it, to make? It is. Without being privy to the politics behind the scene, we can only guess what the thinking is. And if Tottenham were to win the game, then Jose's done his job, or he's been brought in to get a trophy, which they haven't had for 20, 30 years. He's done the job, and he can say, I've done what nobody else has done. Mm-hmm. Yes, they got to a cup final, but they've not delivered. So that puts him in a position of strength. And I think they've taken away that position of strength before it can occur. Mm. So maybe the feelings were behind the scenes that, they want to look in another direction, but it's going to be very difficult if he's got a trophy and done what 8, 9, 10 managers haven't done. Yeah. So taking it away before the opportunity comes, and I don't think it makes any difference whatsoever to the performance of the team. I think really? No, I don't think it matters. Them players want to go and win a trophy, and in many ways they've got the freedom of going into the game knowing that they've got a young manager, and it gives them another little pickup. But no, probably things that we'll never find out why the decision was made, and it does seem strange, but
logically, you'd say that he's taken away that opportunity for him to say, I was a success.
It's interesting seeing it from that other side, actually, because, in the middle of the week, we're going, well, that's probably a plus for us. But then when you say if they can play without the shackles off, that is probably a more of a worry for us as City fans and the team, isn't it?
I would think so. I mean, Andy and I sort of slightly differ on this. I think if I'm Raheem Mason, I was thinking, do I go and be pragmatic and be set up like Jose Mourinho was set up and then look to catch on the counter because of what they got? I actually think he has a free hit to look around the dressing room and say, I've got absolute quality here. No one really thinks you're going to go and win this game. Go out there and prove to the world that you're better than Man City and you can win this game.
Yeah.
So I think he has a free hit. And I think it'd be a more open game than perhaps it would have been against Jose. So I think Tottenham will look to release Kane and Son and Lucas and have these players only from foot trying to drive a City. So I anticipate more of an open game, probably the first 10 minutes settling in, but I imagine it'd be sort of an end-to-end. If I'm Raheem Mason, that's how I would approach it.
Yeah, it'd be great for the neutrals as well. Ryan Mason, I mean, such a young man, taking on a big role in the form of Tottenham Hotspur manager. Do either of you know much about? I mean, of course, as well, we know he's joined by Chris Powell. What do you make of kind of Ryan Mason and Chris Powell, I guess, Andy? I
think it's an opportunity, to steer the team until the end of the season. Then I'm sure there'll be something in place then. It wouldn't have been planned ahead. I don't think 2 or 3 months ago they would have been thinking that way, but just the way things have developed and having to make a decision quickly before this cup, that again takes away the power of strength for Mourinho. But listen, there's nothing to lose, and that could be dangerous, as you've just said, with a young manager coming in, not overthinking. What about the what ifs? What happens if we get opened up? What happens if we're 2-0 down in 15 minutes? Does this turn into a 5 and 6? I'm going to be responsible for that. But without that fear, he may just go and have a go. But as we disagreed on, Shaun, I think it's very, very dangerous against, we've had some of the best managers, the best thinking people in football that have come up against this team, and they have been respectful and realised that if we overexpose ourselves, they will pick through us and they'll hurt us, But again, in many ways it's a free hit, and that has to be dangerous.
And touching on something I think you kind of both have alluded to, but Shaun, with for the players, and I don't know if it's anything either of you went through, like during the season, there's a manager goes, new one comes in. Do you feel it a lot? Does it depend on your closeness of the relationship you had with the manager, or like you said, Andy, is their focus just on, well, all I can worry about is my 10 teammates, the 5 on the bench, and we've just got to try win the game? Or does it have a ripple effect?
I never really had that sort of during the season. It was always at the end of the season. But I think as a player, you come to understand that this is part of football.
Yeah.
You could be a regular in the team, love the manager because you're playing all the time, and he enjoys what you're doing. And then a new manager comes in, and you've got to reboot and go, right, I've got to prove it to him. So I don't think the players get too bogged down in terms of a manager's going. I think players at this level are able to adapt and go, if Jose Mourinho's left, then we've got to get on with it. I had a great relationship with him, but I've got a job to do. And I think they soon get over that, the fact that he's moving on.
Thank you, Shaun. If you've just tuned in, welcome to We're Not Really Here. My name is Cel Spellman. Big team news I can bring if you do want to know it. Harry Kane does start for Tottenham Hotspur, but to counter that, I can tell you Kevin De Bruyne starts for Manchester City, and Sergio Aguero is on the bench. We're going to come to him in just a little bit, but first, how did we get to this moment today? A League Cup final, the potential to win our 4th consecutive one in a row. Well, we can now bring you our road to Wembley, or as I like to call it, our road to our second home.
Manchester City get their latest defence of the Carabao Cup underway tonight. First time hit, first time goal. It's Delap on his debut. Gabriel Jesus requires just 2 minutes to score for City. Manchester City are semi-finalists in the League Cup once again.
this club always belongs to the players, and the players in the backs create this club. This is for Colin Bell.
Fernandinho! 2-0 City! And Manchester City are in yet another cup final.
Wow. Can they do it? If they do beat Tottenham Hotspur this afternoon, that will mean we've won our 4th consecutive League Cup title, which for me just seems to be getting swept under the rug a little bit, as to be fair, most things do with City in the mainstream media. But, I mean, Andy, can you underestimate that has been the case? The last time Manchester City lost in this competition was to United in October 2016. Never been beaten since. I mean, it's an unbelievable feat.
It is. It's again testament to the standards, expectations at the club. You know, and that's not an arrogance. You know, but we've raised the bar so high that we don't expect to be beaten any game. We go into every game with the same mentality that we have to find a way to win. We have to get through this game and move on to the next one. And yeah, it's breathtaking when you put it in those stats you just spoke about. To keep maintaining that is very, very difficult. But I think with the strength of our squad, I don't think there's any reason why we can't go into every game thinking that we'll win it. But you know, you've got to tip my hat to them, because the manager, the players, and the football club for a period of time now have been relentless. And it is relentless is the word that describes this football club, and it's great to see, great to be a part of it.
Yeah, relentless. And another one I think you said off camera as well, relentless and consistent, which is what it really does show. Shaun, we can actually take a look at our last visits to Wembley since 2014. I mean, the only time we've not won it, I think was 2015 and 17. So 3-1 against Sunderland. Then we had the 1-1 with Liverpool, of course, won on penalties. Fantastic. 3-0 against Arsenal in 2018. Beating Chelsea on penalties 4-3 in 2019. And then last year, of course, 2-1 against Villa. It's, Shaun, when you look at that, I mean, to think as well how far we've come, it's quite special for the club, isn't it? And I think that's the standard, as Andy said, that's now been set.
Yes, it is. And also the real pleasing thing, we could look back and we could say that, you know, in this competition, even when we've come down to penalties, we've won. So sometimes as Blues, we look for the negative side, but that there is something positive to look for if things were to go that way. You know, that the penalty shootouts we've gone on to win. But again, this is testament, as Andy said, testament to the club. I just think it's unreal. I mean, it's the culture that Pep has developed, you know, and you could only be doing this, winning this trophy so consecutively, is by what they're doing every day. And we all, you know, we crack jokes and we talk about, you know, Pep in terms of taking players and saying, no, your body's got to be this way. Well, that's building the culture and how you become performing consistent and performing well all the time. And it transfers from that to then winning games, and then you look further down the road and you go, oh, you're in a final. And I just think it's amazing to look back at how we've developed the culture of the club to become this machine that churns out trophy after trophy, consistent performances. You know, we look and we just go, wow, you know, we dictate games, we dictate the tempo of games, possession, shots. I just think we're in a beautiful time to be witnessing City and watching City. I really do.
And speaking of witnessing City, we can witness the boys there warming up on the pitch at Wembley. And would you look at that? Some fans sat in the seats behind them watching the warm-up. It's just... it's actually so amazing to hear. I know we didn't get the shout, did we, Shaun?
No, we didn't get the
Next
shout.
time.
Second best place.
Andy, final one, and this is just for my own interest, because now I think we're that comfortable playing at Wembley, and I always think the Wembley pitch has suited us, given it is so wide. But will that help the players? Maybe not consciously, but subconsciously going, we have played on this pitch many a time, and usually it is good to us. So does that help them, do you think, a little bit?
I think definitely. You know, there's always there's always grounds when we played that you're, familiar with, and you've got good memories of that place, and you go into it with a smile on your face. And, if we'd been there on a few occasions and lost, you're not going back into that environment. But going into an environment where they celebrated, and celebrated rightly so when they've won this League Cup, and they celebrated like they'd won the European Cup, because it means that much for us to win every trophy.
Yeah.
So they'll have them thoughts in their head. That'll be in their mind's eye last night, today, going into the game. Positive thoughts about where they've been, and they've done it on many occasions. So it's somewhere that doesn't daunt them in any way.
Yeah.
And somewhere that really they embrace, familiar surroundings in a lot of ways.
Yeah, very, very comfortable. Now, we spoke about how we love it as a team at Wembley, but there is one man who you could say is the master of Wembley, because he has scored the most goals at Wembley for Manchester City. 6 out of 10 games he has scored in. There's only one man I can be talking about. He is on the bench today. He is our king, Sergio Aguero. Shaun, I mean, he's not starting, but could you see him make an appearance and putting the ball in the back of the net?
Listen, I would just love for him to get a few moments, because he will be aware of that. He'll be aware that he has a great record at Wembley. So he'll be just thinking, if he can get himself 20 minutes, if he can get himself on the pitch 20 minutes, and I wouldn't put it past him that, if he gets himself an opportunity to go on and score, that's phenomenal. 6 goals in 10 appearances at Wembley. Again, we talked about standards, and, we just watch him here. Sergio Aguero walks to a different beat, to a different sound, to a different rhythm. Everyone else, we seem to walk on a different pattern, but Sergio walks, and this is probably how he sees the game. We're all sort of racing, and he's sort of calculated 3-4 moves ahead, and said, I'm just going to move here. The ball's going to land here. It lands here. Bang, go. This is absolutely frightening.
It's unbelievable. I mean, that's we can see there, and of course. Versus Chelsea 2013, the goal against Arsenal 2017 FA Cup. I think we've got the Community Shield in there against Chelsea, 2 goals in that, and then obviously the 2 in the League Cup as well. I mean, for the club to have such a prolific goal scorer, and actually, I guess he's one of the players that epitomises big game, big player, big moment.
Yeah, he does. He always turns up. The key moments that we've seen in the times that he's been here, when he's been the difference. And as you just said, the way he carries himself, and he walks in there's a presence. Sergio's in town, whether he's starting or not. But that's something it's innate. It's deep inside him, his own belief in his ability. And, if you're going to the bench and you want somebody to come on and win a game, it's Aguero. And, just watching him there now, it's been a pleasure over the years watching him.
We're looking at these clips here. We just saw a header, far post header. We're seeing every type of finish. That's like a Shaun go to sloppy go, right?
Hello.
But all the rest of them, they are absolute quality finishes. I mean, he's got everything in his locker. He really is. So really love to see him get on for a few moments.
If he does come onto the pitch, and if he was to score, that would make him the first player to score in 3 different League Cup finals since Didier Drogba, who did it in 2005, 2007 and 2008. And of course, I don't like to spend too much time on it, but given that we know this is his final season, Shaun, it would only feel right, wouldn't it, that he graces that Wembley pitch in a City shirt one more time and maybe puts the ball in the back of the net.
Yes, exactly. And this is why I'm hoping that, he can get himself a good 20 minutes, so he can get into the rhythm of the game and then go in and impact it. I think we talk about Didier Drogba's stats. He would have started all those games. This is a game that he's not starting. So again, every minute he gets will be better, because I'm pretty sure he'll be looking to get 1 or 2 chances, and we know what he does. He puts them away.
He really, really does, just like yourself, Shaun. All right, let's head back over to Wembley. We've got Abby there looking after things. She is with another club legend in the brilliant Shaun Wright-Phillips. Abby, what's going on over there?
Yes, hello from Wembley. Back to talk about the team news. Shaun, strong team.
Very strong team. No surprise there from me. I think we know how Pep is. He wants to win everything, and this is no different to him. He's going to come out, the players are like, they're going to start off firing, I think, and it's just great to see the team that we expected to be out there, really.
Absolutely, and seeing Kevin De Bruyne back in that starting 11, I think all of us were a little bit apprehensive about whether he'd be ready or not, but it's so good to see him starting, isn't it?
It's amazing to see him starting, but I think if he wasn't, then at least we knew it would be all right for the Champions League.
Yeah.
And then we got Bernardo Silva that can step in. So there is other quality players in there, but what can you say about the man KDB? And when he plays, you know what can happen, basically.
And I feel like for a final, he's a player you want to see him on the team sheet, don't you?
I want to see him on the team sheet every day, to be honest with you. But we know what they're going to do. They're just going to try and man mark him, but he's clever enough to solve that situation, as we've seen him do many times before.
And Sergio on the bench as well.
I heard a little stat, Abby.
Okay.
That
bring me the numbers.
We win today.
Yeah.
Fernandinho and I think Aguero break records, I think.
They do. Winning it the most time, you're right. Not that this was a quiz, but you're right.
All right.
Yeah, I know it'd be so good to see those two lifting another Carabao Cup, wouldn't it?
It'd be cool. It's a good way for Aguero. Obviously, we know disappointing that he's signing out, but for him to win as many trophies as he can before he goes.
And Zach in goal as well. We saw him at the post-match from last weekend. Obviously, he was not feeling great after that, understandably. But he was saying, look, this has been a lesson for us. Let's take this into next week. And I'm so pleased to see him starting as well. I'm a big Zach fan myself.
Totally. I think he's done fantastic. Obviously, it's going to be tough for him at times because he doesn't play as regularly as he wants to. So the times that he does come in, it's only natural he wants to try and impress and try not to disrupt the way the team has been playing in the past. So for him to come in is what Pep believes in. He has a way of playing in cup games and he sticks to it even if they get to the finals, which is fantastic to see.
And now Spurs coming here today. Obviously, they've had a bit of disruption over the past week with their manager leaving. How does this play into today? Is it going to affect it at all?
I think for Spurs, in some ways, it could be a positive for them. I think some of their players, it might give them a new lease of life.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, that could play into City's hands because if they played against a Mourinho team, you kind of know what you're going to get. He's going to sit everyone back and there's no spaces and play on the break, where I feel like today it's going to be a completely different game, which is obviously great, knowing that we've got fans in there as well, that it could be a lively game today.
So true. And obviously they haven't got as far to come. They're only down the road and they used Wembley for I don't know how long for while their stadium was being built. So they're very comfortable here as well. So that's making me feel a little bit jittery.
I don't think it should. You should feel comfortable because City are like a home team when it comes to cup finals at Wembley.
Yeah.
For the last 4 years, we've always been here. So I feel like they'll have more nerves than we will.
Absolutely. Thank you for reassuring me, Shaun.
My pleasure.
Hopefully you guys are feeling nice and reassured back in the studio as well, and I'll see you in a bit.
Always. I mean, Abby, welcome to my world. There's many things I love about doing this job. One of them being I'm always calmed down by the City legends that I grew up watching, so it's always a nice feeling. Hopefully doing the same for you at home too. If you just joined us, welcome along to We're Not Really Here. My name is Cel Spellman, Andy Morrison, Shaun Gota in the studio as we look ahead to win our 4th League Cup title against Tottenham Hotspur. If you've just tuned in, I'm going to bring you team news in just a second, but while I've got you, would you like to win a Manchester City home shirt? I know that I would, and if I wasn't working here, I'd get involved. It's very simple, from Manchester to Montreal, from Stalybridge to Singapore. We love to hear from you. This show is for you. It is about you. So we want to know how you're watching. It's very simple. If you send a picture of your setup and use the hashtag WNRH on Twitter, you can also tag @ManCity. We're going to be awarding the best setup a Manchester City home shirt. We'll send it anywhere in the world. So wherever you are, get involved and you could be that lucky winner at the end of the show. And we're going to do this for every We're Not Really Here show till the end of the season. So maybe if you're not lucky enough for this one, get involved for our next game. But just use the hashtag WNRH. Now, for that all-important team news, this is how Manchester City are lining up this afternoon. It looks like this. Zach Stefan starts in goal, of course, played all the games in our League Cup run-up. In defence, in front of him, Kyle Walker, Ruben Diaz, Aymeric Laporte and João Cancelo. Our captain, Fernandinho, is partnered by Ilkay Gundogan and Kevin De Bruyne, who does start. You're seeing that right. And a front three of Riyad Mahrez, Phil Foden and Raheem Sterling. On the bench, Ederson, Ake, Jesus, Aguero, Zinchenko, Rodrigo, Bernardo Silva, Ferran Torres and Benjamin Mendy. And the Tottenham Hotspurs team that we'll be taking on is captained by Hugo Lloris in net. Sergio Aurier, Alderweireld, Dyer and Reguilón at the back. Højbjerg in the middle with Winks and Lo Celso. And a dynamite front three, it has to be said, of Lucas, Son and Kane. On the bench, Joe Hart, Sanchez, Tangana, Sissoko, Dele Alli, Ndombele, Bale, Lamela and Bergwijn. Two big teams, one of them hoping to secure that League Cup trophy, which I do believe we can have a little look at in just a second. And you might have seen, as we were looking around Wembley there, the very welcome sight of football fans returning to watch the game live. But of course, one thing they're all hoping to get their hands on this afternoon and see their team lift is the League Cup trophy. I mean, gents, you've been involved in a few trophy lifts at your time. Now I'm a little bit privy to this, but I believe, Shaun, there's one little infamous moment between you and Andy and the rest of the team when it comes to lifting trophies.
Yes, I'm so glad you asked that because, you know, I had to call Andy out on this. You know, we got promoted, everything. Andy's got the trophy. Half the team are still coming up the steps. Lo and behold, Andy's already lifted the trophy. He's grabbed it. Hey! I'm like, wow, why are you cheering? I'm not even up there yet. Go on, Andy. It's your time.
Listen, don't let the truth spoil a good story, all right? Now, I've been waiting a long, long time. As a little boy, you know, the FA Cup was huge for us, and you'd be watching people go up the steps and all that, and I always dreamed about it. And that game, that was my FA Cup final. And listen, if I had a chance to do it again, I may have waited for you all. But it was handed to me, and I didn't even think to myself, like, wait till everybody's there ready to go. But there was a good few there go. It's just you were probably signing things on the way up.
There was about 6.
I mean, it's so great because, I mean, if you've been lucky enough as well, and I've been very fortunate with my family to see City lift trophies at Wembley, there is something very iconic about being there. Watching that, you say, it's a long walk, by the way. It seems like a long, but for you as players, and as you say, it's your dream. Can you even fully describe the feeling of what it is like to, when I've seen you, watching you players do? What's it like for you guys?
I think, listen, the night before the game, you're in a hotel and you're dreaming. You know, your parents are there, your kids are there, and the fans, and it's such a big occasion. And I picture it lifting the trophy, and we're 2-0 down with 90 minutes gone.
I know. Was the team with you when you dreamt it?
So listen, Shaun. So we're 2-0 down, and I'm sat in this. I'm nearly in tears in the stand, thinking my dream's over. When am I going to be able to pick up a trophy in front of the fans? And of course, we history as it was. And then I've gone up and the thing is, if you look at the picture, there's no thinking about trying to look well. I'd had a tooth knocked out in the game. So I've got a tooth missing and just the most contorted face ever. I wasn't looking very suave at that time, but I wasn't concerned. I was picking a trophy up.
Looking suave is, I think.
For me, I was just enjoying the whole moment. I was on Bermuda time in my walk and my stroll. It's like, you don't often have these moments Wembley and you've won. I think I probably got there another 5 minutes later. I was high-fiving people going up the steps. I was like, yeah, baby.
Sure, I actually love in another world, if you'd had waited, everyone would be stood there going like that. We're at 10 minutes now. Sean here? Yeah. No, Sean's still not here. Wow, what a moment. Well, hopefully we're going to be seeing our boys in blue lift the trophy come full-time at Wembley Stadium. We've not got long until kickoff, so we've just brought you the team. We've kind of been looking into it. But final question to you both, and Andy, I'll begin with you. What is the one key thing you think that's going to be required today for Manchester City to come out victorious over these next 90 minutes?
Well, first and foremost, be clinical when we get our chances. We'll have 5 or 6 good chances in the first half, and when we're clinical, we put games to bed early. And then on the transition, on the turnover, it's, Cancelo, I think, will be filling in them spaces. So it won't just be Fernandinho that'll be trying to stifle the attack. One of the fullbacks will be in the midfield to stop the counter. Harry Kane, when we go down to real small detail, I don't remember him ever passing a ball forward with his left foot. Everything he does is he gets it into his body, he feels you, spins you, and then the right foot. So the small detail will be stopping him playing forward passes and forcing him onto his left. And then it's just about us being clinical. And if we are, we'll take care of the game.
And as far as players, Shaun, I mean, of course, you always go and straight away look to Kevin De Bruyne. Of course, top 3, top 5 player in the world. Just forgetting Kevin De Bruyne for a second, who are the other players you'll be looking to, do you think, that are really going to...
I'm intrigued. I think we can see Gundogan sort of ghost in between Dyer, Herrera, the fullback. I think he's brilliant at ghosting into those areas. And because Dyer, yes, he's a quality defensive midfielder, fills in playing centre-back, may switch off, may get pulled too far in or too far out where that space can be created. And again, the way City play, will it be De Bruyne up top? Will it be Sterling that's in there at times, or Foden? And that movement can cause that little bit of space for City to exploit.
Final question then, before we go. Remember, we're not really here. We're going to be with you as well to get into all the action at full time as well. Hopefully, talking about us celebrating our 4th League Cup title. I'll stop saying that. But predictions are final thing for us to do on the agenda. Andy, how can you see this playing out?
I think both teams will score. I'm going for 3-1 City.
3-1 City, nice, like that. Shaun, what about for yourself?
Yeah, I was thinking the same, but I'm not going to go the same as Andy. I was thinking that. Now you said that, I'm going to go. You pulled me off there. I know we're still on air. I was really thinking 3-1, but I would say a different score. I would say 4-2.
You're going to go 4-2? Nice.
Go 4-2.
Okay, but you were thinking 3-1 as well. That's all right. Nice. Thanks for mixing it up there as well, Shaun. Appreciate that. Well, listen, there we have it. You can see the teams are walking out at Wembley for the Carabao Cup final. Ryan Mason leading out Spurs, of course. 2 as well. Some fans in the stadium, which I think is just so special, and I think a real sign, and hopefully a moment now as we're going to see normal things return to football. I mean, just to see them there in the crowd, it's just unbelievable. And we had it on good authority from our presenter Abby, who's at the stadium. City did win the game off flags. We've got a better flag set up than Spurs, so that bodes well. Just a few minutes to kick off to go as Pep Guardiola leads out our Manchester City team, captained by Fernandinho, Zach Stefan as well, of course. Great to see him in the team. He's played all the rounds of the League Cup. And there they are, our citizens, supporting the boys out in full force. So brilliant to see. Well, listen, I'll let you go get a cup of tea, and hopefully we're going to talk about a Manchester City win. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back at full time, so come tune in exactly how you're watching, and hopefully it'll be a celebrating a Manchester City win. Come on, City.
Run onto this one. Gundogan has picked up the ball, and Gundogan beats the goalkeeper. To Gabriel Jesus, offside flag stays down. Gabriel Jesus.